So information seeking is an umbrella concept along with information behavior and information practice. And it refers to the ways in which people process information in the context of their everyday life, how they make sense of their environment, how they make meaning. So we talk a lot about meaning making. And I think it is quite important because often we think about information seeking as, pointing somebody towards a particular source of information. And it's not just that. And in the context of newcomers in particular, it is really important to understand that people come with a prioris, people come with assumptions and expectations, and people come with huge gaps in their knowledge about how the system works, about even the existence of a particular service. They may not ever have encountered a service like 211, for example, so they can't even conceptualize that such a system exists. Therefore, they will not seek it. So it is really important when we think about information seeking not to think of it in a very linear manner, very instrumental. If I give them A, then their issue, their problem, their information need will be solved. Instead, it is more helpful for us to understand information practices or information behavior along a continuum. So when we talk about information behavior, often we talk about three things. Information seeking, how people go about finding information in the context of solving a specific issue in their lives. Information needs, how do people conceptualize their need for information, whether it's about housing or employment or settling into a new neighborhood. And the last piece is information use. Once you give people the information, what will they do with it? Will they share it? In what format? How? What's the rate of distortion in some of that information that will be passed on to others? So that's information behavior, the seeking, the need, and the use. Now, and the sharing as well. And the latest research is showing that the concept of information practice is a little bit more helpful. And the difference between information behavior and information practice, which I think has implications for the work that settlement workers do, is that information behavior tends to focus on the individual. What happens in their head, what are their motivations, the affective dimension. I need information urgently about housing. So when you are in the context of need or emergency, often you will make decisions about which information to select and to act on in a different way than if you had a bit more time. So information behavior often is about the individual and their motivation, their affective and cognitive processes. Information practice is a little bit different. Information practice says, information is encountered in the environment. Knowledge is socially constructed. People may have encounter information in a very passive way. Often they will not be self-aware and really be conscious about solving a problem. So what is important about that is we as information professionals, as settlement workers, need to know that people will encounter information not only within the setting of the settlement agency or the government agency or the website, but people are actually surrounded by information that they encounter through their social network ties, through their monitoring the media, listening to the radio, being on WhatsApp with people back home. So all these are sources of information that will impact on what a newcomer knows and what a newcomer thinks he or she needs to do. So I like information practice a bit better than information behavior because it adds that social and communicative element to our definition of how people seek information in the context of their everyday life. I think it's a new conceptualization. I think it's a more holistic approach to information. In information behavior, often the focus initially was on this very the interaction of the user with another person, with a worker, a settlement worker, with a website or a system. So information seeking was really just reduced to that interaction between two people or between a system and an individual, without really taking into account the fact that people come with connections. People know things. people have prior knowledge that they may have from their position, their education, their travels. In the context of refugees, for example, they have had frequent settlement and resettlement in different settings. So they come with a range of knowledge and understanding and ties and expectations that we need to take into account. And I think information behavior was not covering that, that tacit knowledge, those information encounters that happen outside of just that direct connection with the settlement worker or the website. So, and having an appreciation, an understanding of the full environment, the context, the uses of social media, for example, how people learn and share information and seek it beyond the agency, really seek it through people both locally and transnationally, is critical in our day and age to understand migration and to understand social inclusion, really.